Linus. What a good name, Linus. Who else is named Linus? Linus I Svingen.
Linus from he was Charlie Brown's friend. He had the blanket. He was always dirty. He always had a cloud of dirt around him. Isn't that Linus?
No, I'm not dirty. You're dirty.
Someone in the chat said, "Line this dick in your mouth." Guys, grow the fuck up. It's Thursday.
2 days later.
Good morning. My name is Kenny Beats. We are having a beat today. I am giving away thousands of dollars worth of gifts. This is the sample for the beat today.
1 hour later.
Extremely impressive, Linus. You've done all the things that we've mentioned slowly. It's like you guys have planned this out for me perfectly. Really strong processing, really strong playing, just great ideas. It's all of that stuff together. The chords, the sections of the beat, so strong. Happy to say you're in first place for right now. Unbelievable. We need a beat breakdown.
Yo, what's up? I'm Linus. I'm from the Bay Area. I've been making music for like 2 years, and I've been doing the beat battles for just as long. I did one this past Saturday and ended up in second place right here next to Jesus. Let's just get into the breakdown. Okay, so this is the session. I went and color coded everything for you guys because probably some of you guys use Fruity Loops and are used to having like 10 million windows to open. Don't want you guys to get confused. I actually started out with this drum loop here. It's from this producer, up and coming. Actually can't tell you where it's from because it's sort of like my super secret sauce, but I'll let you guys listen to it. Okay, you got me. It's a count loop. I actually didn't end up using this in the final beat. Since it's you only have like an hour to come up with a beat, and since I didn't know exactly where I was going to take the sample or what I was going to do with it, I just threw this in there to sort of give me like a point of inspiration. So after I added that, I added these chords.
The notes you picked, whenever you start bringing in stuff about halfway through and like you hear that one chord for the first time, I wish I knew enough harmony to tell you what the chord was. But it goes to a certain bass note and you just feel it. I definitely said like wow or something.
Okay, so the first thing I added was this Diva preset. Diva is a really good soft synth by Yuki that I've been using a lot recently. It's just the MK Brass Euro preset. I'm just cutting a lot of the lows and low mids. And then this is an auto filter that gives you like the wah wah effect. This is what it sounds like without it. And then this is with it. Yeah, so it's giving you kind of more of like a funky bounce. And yeah, this is a Logic stock plugin, by the way. Next, I added this electric piano, which it's a Logic stock sound. It's just the regular E piano. And then all of these plugins that I added is actually one of my user patches. And it gave me this, which is electric piano enveloper, which is also Logic stock plugin. I'm turning up the gain on the attack and turning down the gain on the release. Like I said, since I'm going for something really bouncy, I want to have like these short chord stabs. And the next thing I added was OTT. This is just bringing out like some high end. I'm pushing the highs and the mids a little. I always turn down this knob. I also added this detune plugin, which is from this really good bundle. I believe MDA Audio makes it. I can show you. All of these are free. So this is basically just like a chorus plugin, I believe. And this is what it sounds like with it on. Like you're at church or something. I don't know why I have 3 EQs, but this is just cutting out lows and some highs. This one is just cutting like some of the frequencies from 1K to 4K. And this is just to make sure that there's room for like a vocal or a lead. The lead element usually takes up that frequency space. So I'm trying to make sure that even though I want the chords to be like big, that they're not fighting with vocals or a lead or anything. In this case, it's Chad Hugo playing the recorder. And then the last thing I added was a noise gate, just Logic stock plugin. Another thing to note, I played these all in on my keyboard. They're all delayed, a little bit off the grid. There's a couple reasons I do this. One of them is just for swing. The other reason is because I want my kick to come through. And what happens if you have like your chords directly on grid and your kick directly on grid is these two transients are sort of fighting for the space. When I play this together where they're both like right on grid, it sounds like this. Doesn't sound as clear as when I give the kick like this tiny little bit of space here for the kick transient to come through first, and then so that the chord transient can also hit. If you sidechain the kick to the chords, you're gonna get sort of like that ducking effect, and then it's sort of gonna add like an attack to the chords, and it's not gonna hit in the same way that it hits now. Now in terms of chords, I originally played in the key of D and then transposed down to A flat. It starts on the 1, D major 7, then it goes up 4 to G sus, also known as Jesus chord. Then it goes down to G flat minor 7, and then goes up a 4th again to B dominant 7. And then this repeats. If you want to get better at like using different chord progressions in your beats, I'd honestly say that just learning songs by ear is probably the best way to do that. So far what we have is this. And this sounds cool, but I kind of felt like it was too cute. Like the piano was like very high-endy, and I wanted to add something to just beef up this sound a little bit more. So I added this Diva preset here. This is the MK Brass Soft Chorus preset, and it has this chain on it, which is basically just a low pass to cut out some of the mud, make room for the bass and kick. An OTT, which is just giving it some high end. Then I'm adding cassette. This is a really good plugin for like cassette emulations. It's on the warm pad preset, just giving it some more warmth, more analog kind of flavor. And the last thing on this chain is actually the Logic Stock Exciter. Just one of my favorite plugins. Because basically what it does, actually I don't really know exactly what it does. It adds more overtones and frequencies in certain frequency band. Like without it, it sounds like this. And then with it, it's adding like more brightness. And if I turn this all the way up, like you can hear really clearly what it's doing. So that's basically it for the keys. Let's move on to the drums.
Oh, it was Pigpen. It wasn't Linus, it was Pigpen. That's what it was. The little dirty one, his little friend, his little dirty friend. Linus had the piano.
This is one of my favorite clap samples on the 2 and 4 for every measure. And this, by the way, is Logic's Drum Machine Designer. It basically works like a drum rack. Like you can throw a bunch of different samples into it, and then you can basically play them like MIDI notes. So yeah, the next thing I added after the clap was the kick. So together, sounds like this. So this is actually how the kick originally sounds. I time stretched it, and then now what it actually sounds like is this. So you can see it kind of just adds like some boominess for this little grace kick. So this is the regular kick sample. I'm actually just shortening the beginning, taking out like that strong transient and then clip fading it so that we don't get any clicks and pops, and like what it sounds like is it. So it's kind of like a little swell into the one of the next beat. Okay, so the next thing I added was this shaker sound that I got from the Neptunes kit. Then I added this perk sound. Then I added this bubble sound. I feel like using more unique sounds in your percussion is like one of the easiest and coolest ways to make your beat just sound like more of a unique feeling. So then the last thing I added for drums was this perk loop. Since I programmed in all of my drums, I wanted to have like at least one live element to sort of tie everything together and adds on to like the programmed drums to sort of glue everything together. And I'm cutting the loops. When I'm programming my drums, I turn off the snap to grid and I just do this kind of sloppily and kind of lazily, and what that does is it sort of just adds like a natural humanized swing to the track. You need to have some kind of imperfections for it to not sound cheesy. So I'm doing the same thing on the MIDI track. I turn off the snap to grid, and then I just draw MIDI notes roughly where I think they should be. That's it for the drums. Let's move on to the sample.
You're using the sample as the main thing in the beat, and the way you've processed it might be the most impressive of anybody yet. Whatever the chorusy kind of hollow, I don't know if it's like a thing you did with a short echo or what it is, but the tone to the lead that you took from a really shitty MP4, you made the focus of that beat.
Immediately, the first thing I'm noticing about the sample is there's a lot of instruments going on. There's like 808, there's some drum sounds, there's piano chords, and there's the flute melody, but really what I want is just the flute melody. So in order to split up like this sample into all those different parts, what I'm using is this website called Melody ML. Now there's a ton of websites that do basically the same thing, but basically you load your sample in and then wait a couple minutes, download this zip file, and what it gives you is all of the stems of the beat. So I actually just had this sample sitting in like an empty track like this, and so I just unmuted it and played it, and it already sounded pretty good. Or not that good. It didn't sound that good, I guess. But yeah, the cool thing about it is like the melody notes from this sample were lining up with some of the like top lines of my chords, and so immediately like I knew exactly where to take the melody. Just chopped it up, pitched it up, did some time stretchy things. With that, it sounds like this. So you can see like these notes, I really wanted them to line up with the notes in the chords. So this first one, and here, the same thing is happening. I actually moved these chords. These chords were originally like right on the one, like that. So I moved them so that they would hit at the same time as the melody. First, I'm adding an EQ. Basically, I'm just trying to strip away all of that dirt. It's a very dirty sample. I'm just trying to take just the flute. And then I'm adding some auto-tune to make sure it's hitting the right notes. Once again, OTT. This time I'm using it more for the compression aspect, since you can see like without it, the sample sort of trails off. With the OTT, you can hear like the whole melody. Just because this sample is like, it was made on a recorder, it sounded kind of dumb, it sounded kind of like SpongeBob. I added this flute lead. So I'm using this Sculpture plugin, which is a Logic stock plugin. And it's really crazy and has really amazing sounds, but I have no clue what it does or what any of these knobs do. So I'm just using this Blown Instruments Cosmic Lead preset. Finally, I put these two in a track stack. When I have two elements that are playing the same melody, I like processing them together to sort of glue them together, make them sound like just one cohesive melody. So once again, another EQ. And then this is what Kenny was talking about the really cool processing that he really liked. I'm using a slapback delay using Valhalla Supermassive, which is another free plugin. And basically I loaded the default preset, turned the delay down to 52 milliseconds, turned the feedback off so that it's just one delay and not like a reverb or not like multiple delays. And so basically what's happening is it's playing the sample and then it's playing like the delayed version of the sample 52 milliseconds later. It sort of makes like this chorusing effect where it kind of gives you the space that a reverb would give you, but you don't get like that really long, washy, muddy tail. This is just another Waves Factory cassette. It's the Tascam preset, so that all sounds like this. I'm gonna move on to the bass.
Oh, Pigpen is the one who's dirty. Schroeder is the one with the piano. Linus has the blanket. Damn. Thank you.
Okay, I'm about to share some major sauce. This bass patch is this plugin called the Scarby Rickenbacker. Don't tell too many people about this, but basically what I did to this sound, this is my actual sauce. My processing is my actual sauce. And you guys are gonna laugh at me, but OTT on the bass sounds fire. I know what you're thinking. Like, oh, you're not supposed to put OTT on the bass. But just listen to this. This is without it. This is with it. It just sounds cooler. It just sounds like thick. It sounds like more animated, more cartoonish. Another thing about writing bass lines or writing melodies, I always want to come up with the melody in my head first and then play it down. I saw Jacob Collier saying something like this in an interview where like the best melodies come from not you making the melody but from the melody coming to you. You want to like imagine like your favorite artist or your friend or your mom whispering a melody to you, and then you want to write that down. You know, Playboy Carti was like whispering in my ear. He was telling me, you need to write this melody, and this is what I came up with.
The sound you used for your low end, I don't think it's like a regular, it doesn't sound like just some regular 808 thing. It's like a really cool bass sound, but it's so full and it's so wide, and like
I have this synth bass. I wanted kind of like a Mike Dean, yo Metro don't trust you, I'ma shoot you type bass. I'm using this Tyrell preset. Tyrell is like a really great free synth plugin. This is the HS Hero guitar preset. On its own, it sounds like this. I think it's supposed to be used as like a lead or something, but pitched down, it sounds like this. It didn't sound bassy enough to me, so for processing, I'm just doing a little EQ. Another Logic stock plugin, it's basically just boosting some of the bass. And yeah, with it sounds like this. So you're getting more of that that makes it really feel like an actual bass. For this B section, I wanted to contrast what's going on in the A section, where it's like, you know, a very like bouncy bass line, bouncy drums, chord stabs, like it's like a more flowy, sustained, elongated section. All I did was lengthen the chords, add this sustained bass. I added like this open hat. All of that together sounds like this. Kenny really likes like these cool short intros into the beats. So like if you can really catch his attention with like a cool intro and then carry that energy throughout the rest of the beat, I think that will help you a lot in these beat battles. So basically, I just wanted like a couple chords and like drum fill things leading into my main A section. This is the one chord here at A flat. And so I did this little walk thing. I'm basically going B, and then chromatic movement down to B flat, and then another movement down, and this is like an A sus chord to an A dominant chord, and then that's a 1. I wanted to have like a little drum fill that just matched this, so just, you know, it's nice. I just also added this same drum fill from here, threw it at the front end of the beat, so the whole intro is gonna sound like this. My mix on this beat is kind of ass, so if you want to see mixing tips, go check out last week's winner Todd Champ. All of my instruments are going through this instrument bus, which is just cutting lows, and then on my master chain, this free clip plugin is really good. I can just show you what it does. Okay, finally, I just want to say thank you, honestly, to everyone, you know, everyone who liked my beat. Big thank you to Kenny for having these battles, honestly. Actually, what started me out on producing was I would see these battles on Flicko's channel, shout out to Flicko, and just looked so cool to me. So I bought Logic and just started entering these battles basically 2 years ago. Yeah, thank you. I hope you learned something. I think I'm gonna start posting on this channel and also on my Instagram which I just made. So go ahead and follow those if you want to see more stuff from me. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Peace.
Up next, Linus. Wow. Extremely impressive, Linus.